Hello, everyone. Let's continue our course. The topic of our course is, what is a subject model? A subject model, in terms of concept, is a function in our model view that implements multi-table joint analysis by constructing relationships between tables. For those of you who are new to models or data modeling, this concept might sound confusing because it's inherently abstract. Let's first recall something more familiar, like joining operations. What are we actually doing when joining? In fact, a left and right join means matching two tables based on certain fields and combining them into a third table. Then, based on this joined third table, we can perform some front-end analysis or visualization. However, there are two issues we need to think about and understand during this process. The first issue is the relationship between the two tables. What is the relationship? It's whether they have a one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-many relationship. The second issue is what hidden risks exist when we join tables, which we need to make clear. Let's first answer the question of what table relationships are. Let's start with the simplest one-to-one relationship. We have two tables. The first table shows different regions, such as Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, and their corresponding sales figures. The second table is the store information for each region, showing the region manager for each area. We can see that there are no repeated fields between the two tables. They correspond one-to-one, Beijing matches Beijing, Shanghai matches Shanghai, so this is a simple one-to-one relationship. We can match these tables based on the region field and then join them, resulting in a table showing which region manager corresponds to each region, along with the sales data. This is a simple one-to-one relationship, which is easy to understand. After understanding the one-to-one relationship, let's look at the one-to-many relationship, which is also easy to grasp. In a one-to-many relationship, we can see that we added a branch field, so Beijing and Guangzhou now each have two branches. Because of the branch field, the original data for Beijing, which was one row, is now split into two rows, with each corresponding to a different branch's sales data. The same applies to Guangzhou. The right table doesn't change because it simply holds the region manager's information for each region. Now, if we look from the right table to the left table, one row of data in the right table will correspond to two rows in the left table. This is the many-to-one relationship, which is simple to understand. Just like before, we match the regions, and to align the right table with the left table, we need to merge the rows. This will inevitably lead to duplication. We will have two rows for Beijing and two rows for Guangzhou to match the two rows of data. When we join, we can clearly see that the region manager for Store 1 in Beijing is still Carl, with a sales figure of 50, and this information is correct. Now, we introduce a small concept, fact table and dimension table. We can see that the left table is a fact table, recording the details and individual order information. The right table, on the other hand, is a dimension table, which holds the basic information of each region's store, acting as the entry point for our analysis. For example, we might analyze the sales figures under different regional managers. After understanding the many-to-one relationship, we need to consider that it might have some hidden risks. The risk arises when a new field is added to the right table, such as the sales target. As the region manager for Beijing, my sales target for this year is 300. When this is added to the right table, the data doesn't change in the left table, but now there are two rows for each region due to the branches. When we join, it causes the sales target value to double. For instance, the sales target for Beijing, originally 300, will now become 600 after joining. This is a problem because the target value was duplicated during the merge, affecting subsequent analysis. If the table becomes more complex, the problem will become even more serious. From this, we conclude that the hidden risk comes from the dimension table, which is correct. But the indicator data in the fact table gets duplicated during the join, causing inflation and affecting the analysis. Next, let's talk about the many-to-many relationship. This situation leads to even greater chaos. We now have two fact tables. In the right table, we add a new field called employee type, which classifies employees in each region based on their rank, with corresponding employee counts. For Beijing, we now have two types of employees, level 3 and level 2, which makes the data split into two rows. Similarly, the left table now also has two rows for Beijing due to the different stores. Now, the left table's single row will correspond to two rows in the right table, and vice versa. This is the many-to-many relationship. If we look at the left table, the total sales figure is 650, and in the right table, the total number of employees is 11. After joining the tables by region, we see that the data is completely messed up. The total sales have become 1,150, and the number of employees has increased to 17. At this point, the data is completely unmanageable and cannot be analyzed properly. So, the many-to-many relationship creates total chaos in the data.